also Monday. I'm gonna do you in. I like a smart person scheduled to work on Friday at my other job. Oh yes, Debbie Walker. This is Gertrude Whitaker, EIRPC. This is from Gertrude Whitaker. You want tape? It's right here. We're live.
Somebody took my old tape.
I didn't touch it. Wow, more people than I thought we'd have today. Oh, we got the highway bids. 7th. Yes. Ready?
I guess we're ready, all right? Welcome. Let's call this Commissioners' meeting December 27th to order. If you'll join me with the pledge and a short prayer. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Heavenly Father, we ask that you would bless our county and our country. We ask your guidance and wisdom in making good decisions that would be pleasing to you. All these things we ask in your name. Amen. Have the commissioners had an opportunity to review the minutes? And if so, do I have a motion?
Motion to approve is presented.
Second.
That's what he said.
I have a motion and a second to approve. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 3-0. Have the commissioners had an opportunity to review the claims? If so, do I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
I second.
Motion's made and seconded to approve claims presented. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 3-0.
And I'm just letting people know I just responded to the editor of the newspaper about the live stream, so that's what I'm texting.
Okay. Have the commissioners had an opportunity to review the payroll? And if so, do I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve payroll. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 3-0. I don't have any monthly reports. No food and beverage.
It's on there.
I don't see anybody from EDC. Nobody from the chamber. Nobody from insurance. Well, this will go quick. Well, Ms. Whitaker, you're up. Good morning.
If you could press the button to make sure it's green, then your mic will be working.
It's green.
There you go.
Good morning, Board of Commissioners.
Morning.
And thank you for inviting me to join you today to give you an update of where we're currently standing. My name is Gertrude Whitaker. I'm the Executive Director of the Eastern Indiana Regional Planning Commission. And as you know, Henry County is one of 6 counties within our RPO, and we're very happy to have you involved and to have Bobby Plummer on our executive committee as your representative. We will need to have just a reconfirmation as we head into 2024, and I'll provide that certificate of affirmation to you in January when we get to that point. My purpose being here today is just to provide to you an update of where the Eastern Indiana Regional Planning Commission currently stands. We have received approval in the end of February of this year for our SEDS, and that's our Economic Development Strategy Group that our 6-county region is going to focus on as far as with the funding locally and with the federal match that we get for important projects that our 6 counties have presented. We are right now in the process of getting attached to the Economic Development District. We had one, but as ERPC had to rebuild over the last 6 years, we now really need to requalify for all of that in terms of the Economic Development Administration, which is the arm of the U.S. Department of Commerce. We have already submitted all of our regulatory requirements to the EDA. We have 2 final steps regarding our programmatic. And the most important one is our staffing component. They need to know that we're able to, as soon as we are eligible to receive the EDA partnership grant of the $140,000, which starts us into this designation, that we're able to properly account for that and take control of it. We're hiring a grant writer, and that's right now where we're waiting to make sure that we meet that need for the EDA. So I'm just making an open acknowledgement and a call to Henry County, to the residents and those professionals in the field. If you're interested in looking for a position that does require grant writing certification, we are hiring. We're open to look at part-time at this point or full-time, but we do want to speak with you. I want to speak with you. So please reach out to me, and if you know of anybody that's looking, please have them get in contact with me. Are there any questions so far with that and with our, as far as regulatory setup with the Economic Development Administration? All right, the broadband, that's a major issue with all 6 of our counties. Right now, under the RDOF grant, Henry County, to my knowledge, has not been really included as far as like Charter Communication, which is one of the biggest recipients of that. They, I know, are doing a big part going up through Union County, Fayette County, and to Wayne County and Randolph. But to my understanding, Henry County has not been part of that reverse auction that the federal government did for the RDOF grant. So where that stands, I attended the broadband meeting. As you know, the state of Indiana did receive the $868 million through the federal government. At some point going into the end of this year, maybe a little bit later, timing isn't always the best with our state legislators, that money is going to be dispersed. But as of the end of November, with the Indiana Broadband Office, they are going through a final process of laying out the guidelines of how they're going to determine the state challenge of where the money will be spent for the fiber optics infrastructure. I'm just going to real quick go to my notes. I know that we are all speed test data fatigued. We've had enough of it. But I will let you know there's one more step and one more time that I'm asking our counties to participate in this. The state challenge process, and I emailed this morning to all 3 of our Board of Commissioners because everything right now is online, but this way you have that information in front of you from the public hearing as well as with the process that they're using for laying out their strategy for picking locations within this part of eastern Indiana. You can then also share it then with your constituents and with your task force as well. But there's going to be a state challenge process that when you look at those locations that are being proposed by the Indiana Broadband Office for the grant money to go for laying the infrastructure, if there is concern that this isn't correct, we have underserved or not served areas that are not designated in Henry County, there's a challenge that can be done by the Henry County Commissioners or by really any nonprofit organization. It is going to require, however, that in those areas the speed test is done again, repeated on 3 different days. And it has to be conducted within 60 days of the state challenge process. That time period is going to be around February of 2024. It can either be done online through connectingindiana.com, or there will be an 800 number. However, the return of that information from your speed tests have to be through either a local government unit, a nonprofit organization, or internet service provider. And I would recommend not to use the internet service provider, but rather go through either the local government unit or a nonprofit organization. IBO said that they are going to teach the local governments on how to conduct the challenge to these locations using your speed tests, and that they're going to provide training, which will be a Zoom training, so that you don't have to actually travel anywhere. I'll make sure I get that information and provide that to you and try to help you as much as possible through that process so that when it's time to pull the trigger on these speed tests for those locations that are being challenged, those 3 tests can be done on 3 different days and then submitted through the process that the IBO requires. It isn't easy, I can tell you that. And I can tell you that Steve Cox, who's the administrator of the state's IBO program, there are locations that just because of the difficulty of the terrain and the end-of-line remoteness of where they're located, they have admitted not everybody's going to be able to get fiber optics. And they have a title for this called the Extreme High Cost Threshold. And more than likely, that last mile of broadband deployment is going to have to be partial or non-fiber optic options, which pretty much is going to be wireless or that kind of line of sight. It isn't ideal, but they're just being truthful that with the money that's provided, not everyone's going to be able to get that fiber optic connection. There's a lot of information. I encourage you on the email that I sent you to review those documents that they provided, particularly the PowerPoint slide from their public hearing. It's very comprehensive in how it goes through their strategy and step-by-step process of how these locations are going to be selected for the funding. I'll try to keep up on all of this, keep the commissioners up to date through your IRBC representative, Commissioner Plummer, and but certainly you can always reach out to me. Are there any questions on that?
Nope.
Right. The state of Indiana, NDOT organization, they're holding an inaugural safety summit. This is just a side note. It's going to be January 19th of 2024. They do have limited space for them after talking with the director's office there at NDOT, but if Henry County would like to send a representative to attend this, please let me know. I'll give you all the sign-in information and the contact for that individual to go. They're trying, the purpose of this is over the next 10 years to try to reduce the number of fatalities on Indiana roadways, and a lot of it is only going to change with local input. You know your roads, you know where those hot spot and dangerous intersections and areas are, and so the state of Indiana wants to set a roadmap out through NDOT and trying to help through road projects to make our roads safer. Leading into that, the Eastern Indiana Regional Planning Commission, we have completed in November our traffic study. Commissioner Plummer was involved with our executive committee, as was your highway engineer, Joe Copeland, who represents your county. They sat in on that as the contractor who provided the updates for us, went through the guidelines of the 178 traffic counts that were done during their study period. There is a wealth of information available on the NDOT program called the MR2 or MS2. It is an online data bank that actually holds traffic counts, railroad crossing, a lot of pertinent information. Because as we know, having traffic counts and knowing what your traffic count situation is in key areas, it's part of the help for you on the local level to make sure that your road development and projects are done in a fair and equitable way. That's part of a major part of your planning. So this will be available to you as part of your membership with the Eastern Indiana Regional Planning Commission. Are there any questions with that? The email that was sent to you, it provides you with the 2 final delivery reports on this traffic count project, and it also provides the PowerPoint that gives the instructions on how to pull that data out of the NDOT system. And Mr. Copeland, feel free to reach out to me as well with any questions on that. Last but certainly not least, the Eastern Indiana Regional Planning Commission relies on the dues of its members to continue our work. In your packet today, you'll see, as well as an attachment on your email, the invoice for your 2024 portion of dues for the Eastern Indiana Regional Planning Commission. So we do respectfully ask, that is due at the end of January. I sometimes wish it were still November, January of 2024. And certainly if you have any questions, I do encourage you to reach out to me and just let me know. I'm always available to come back to the Board of Commissioners and answer your questions. Is there any follow-up that you would like?
I don't think so.
Okay. All right, thank you very much, and I just wish Henry County, your residents, the local government, a very happy new year. God's blessings as you make your decisions, and I look forward to continue working with you. Thank you.
Thank you. My hair's falling out.
Since I see 4 members of our council, are you expecting anybody else at this point? If we want to, we'll change up the itinerary a little bit. I don't know if you guys have other things that you need to do, so I won't keep you. What we wanted was for you to be involved in the discussion we're having with DLZ. They are doing another walkthrough tomorrow, so the information as far as figures that we had may not be exactly where the information that
Turning the fans on, sorry.
I'll say if we have copies, if you guys want to come up there, and this way you can kind of review what it is that we have right now. We want to keep you guys informed and up to date on what we're doing as far as what they're discussing with us. And this way you'll know everything that we know as we know it. This gives you an idea of what they're looking at. Preliminary is starting out as far as the renovation of the courthouse and the Masonic Building and Justice Center. And this gives you I guess right now it's a ballpark figure of where we're at. Some of those figures obviously may change with their second walkthrough the end of this week. So if you want to look those over, and if you have any questions, feel free to.
I did just email all of you the the detailed scope of work. This is what we got after that scope of work. I haven't had an opportunity to compare these to those numbers to see what may or may not have changed in here as we just got this. But you all do have a copy of the scope of work.
That was the original.
That was the original scope of work that
Yes.
they did, yes.
So Bobby says that she can send that other one to you on the bigger.
I just sent it.
You just sent that
I
one,
just sent
okay.
it.
So you guys will have that one also, so you'll have the same thing that we have.
It has all the drawings and all the details to it.
I know that's a lot to throw at you guys, but this way,
I have a
Hopefully if you-
question for you.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so, yeah, and it's the first time I'm looking at it. So the high range for the courthouse is 3.9, it looks like. And the bond was for more than that. So is there phase two or things that, okay,
I think there will be, because most of what they went over with us was mostly structural, foundation issues, windows, those kind of things was what
Tuck
they were.
pointing.
Yeah, tuck pointing of the brick. Those kind of things that was the preliminary, because those were the major items that they were looking at. So that gave us that figure there to get started, because we figured those were the critical things we needed to address first.
so you would think that the remainder might be more cosmetic?
Probably, yes, I would say.
So the three mains were foundation, windows, HVAC,
Yes.
and tuck pointing were the three main categories that they discussed with this 2.9 to 3.9 million for this building.
So on page 2 is courthouse, correct? So on the bond that we approved last year was 5 million for the courthouse, and this estimate on page 2, that would cover everything on both the alternatives and on the high end and the non-alternatives, the high priority. 5 million would cover the 3.9 that Susan alluded to, plus the 826,000. So that would be covered if that's your choice to do that. And I think the bond was for, I don't know, 6.5 million or thereabouts, but you have another 1.5 million that looks like it would cover the other 2 pages as well.
So right now, we're fairly pleased at the estimates where they're coming, but we don't know once those go out for bids what that may do.
Right.
And with their second walkthrough, we don't know how well that may change higher or lower as far as what they may go through. So,
And the Justice Center doesn't have anything other than alternatives in this page 4, correct?
right now, the Justice Center's been kind of, for lack of better terms, backburnered to see where we came on, because the critical work that needed to be done was this building and the Masonic building.
Right.
So that was the reason that they were concentrated on more than the Justice Center, because we are doing ongoing work on the Justice Center now. So hopefully that will help alleviate some of that. But
So these estimates that you just handed out, subject to some modification after their walkthrough tomorrow,
Potentially, yes.
are
possibly.
less than maybe originally thought in the big handout you gave me 9 months ago.
Yeah, and like I said, I don't know what all else they may include or not.
Well,
include.
yeah,
And
and this
we
just,
have-
they did this to stay within the budgeted amount of the
Yes.
bond. This was not necessarily,
Okay.
they've redone the first go-round with everything. This is them staying within their,
Because we gave them the bond amount.
Okay.
And so they were trying to stay within that amount.
Okay, so this was done with a bond in mind?
Yes.
Okay, good.
yes. And then the Masonic building also, it's got quite a bit of, the only thing I don't know is, in the scope of work, and we'll talk to Henry tomorrow, the scope of work for the Masonic building, or what we call the Masonic building, the original did not have replacing all of the windows, and we asked them to go back and get the dollar figure to replace all the windows in the building.
Because those windows over there are in really bad shape.
So I'm not sure if that is reflected in this cost right now.
Any other questions? And obviously, we're not making any decisions right now, but we just wanted you guys to be as informed as we were, so you knew what was going on.
I think we all appreciate that as well.
Absolutely. Steve, can you give me a sense of the timeline on this?
Not really, because they hadn't gave us one yet. They were hoping to start as soon as possible, as soon as if we all approve this, then they were-
Early, bids will go out early 2024.
that's what they were wanting to start early this year, or this coming year. So that was where they were, that was the impression they left with us.
In their RFQ, RFP, their timeline really was to be completed 2025.
Yeah.
Late 2024, early 2025 was their estimated timeline to have this completed.
We were pleased that the structure of this building, especially since the walls were so thick, that a lot of the underlying causes that they were afraid might be aren't necessarily there. Replacing a lot of the windows will help alleviate some of the other issues that we're having. So there were a lot of things that were going to kind of take care of themselves by them doing those main things.
I applaud you for taking action. This is a great building, historical building, and it's one of our assets in Henry County. So
I would agree.
it's needed work for a long time, and it's great that we're not kicking the can anymore.
We were very shocked to find out that the foundation was not the main and most expensive
Yeah.
issue in the building.
So it wasn't as bad as a lot of us
Well,
thought.
what they, they
As they
haven't
put-
started
Once
digging.
you start digging, it may get worse, but right now, they're not as gun shy as they were when they first looked.
Talking about the courthouse.
Yes.
Yeah.
What about the Masonic Lodge foundation?
There are some drainage issues. Some of that's going to have to be addressed, I think, also in conjunction with the city, because some of it is the lines going out to the city stormwater and drain things around the Masonic when some things were redone. So we're going to have to partner with them to kind of get those addressed at the same time. And there's a lot more tuck pointing and some brick replacement over there that they may have to address. So those are other items that's in that, we're not sure yet. That's why they're wanting to do the other walkthrough to kind of confirm. But they were also going on the fact that we didn't have as much money set aside to address that building right this minute, so they were trying to stay within that budget too.
What's the plans with the ARP money that was set aside, that designated for county buildings? Do you,
It depends
No,
on
yeah.
how much the other buildings cost. That's where that's
Well,
going
and
to show.
that money could go to the other things on DLZ's list that this doesn't cover too? I mean, if you get
Yes.
into a foundation issue,
That's kind of what we're waiting on, is to see how far in, because then that's also where the Justice Center or whatever,
And
we hit it, and we've got the YOC, depending on how much or what we need to do with it, whether some of that falls under opioid or has to come out of our power, we want to do that, along with our partnerships with the surrounding counties that want to enter into an agreement with that building, depending on how that works.
okay, so no problem with the ARP money being designated by December
it's all bit-
31st next year?
That's, no, not at all. We're fine with that.
You mentioned a few minutes ago, in case they find something, which there's a item on here that says design contingency. Is that specific to if they find something, or?
Yes, that's partial. They're hoping that will cover it, but we all know how those things work, especially when a building this age, you start looking and you know, it's one of those old crap
You
moments.
start taking out the windows in the clock tower and,
Right. Well, that was my question, because you can pull this carpet up and find tiles full of asbestos or
oh,
stuff,
we haven't, that doesn't even cover pulling the carpet up.
mold. I mean, we could run into all kinds of things, so I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, we're not sure if the contingency money is enough, but we put it in there, and they did, to help offset some of that.
Appreciate that. The design contingency is what concerned me. The word design, I wasn't sure, so thank you.
I assume exterior joint sealant replacement is tuck pointing.
Yes. Because they said the whole building did not need it. There are certain areas that do. There are certain areas where they're going to take damaged block and brick. Most of it's the block around the bottom layer that is coming apart. They're going to cut that out and replace it. And they're going to try to find stones that match as close as possible. Because obviously they're not going to be perfect, but they're going to try to do that for us so the building, it won't be as obvious. bedtime reading for all of you now, so.
Yeah, because the document that was sent to you is about 37, 38 pages long. And sorry, I keep looking up here because I feel weird talking to their back, so I keep looking over here so I can see their faces since they're behind me.
Well, we can do an assessment of your barbers and
Sure.
beauticians from up here. I
Well,
would
thank
say
you guys
they do a
for-
good job. Yeah, thank you.
Thanks for the information.
I appreciate it.
it.
And I'm going to probably go home and listen to the rest of it online,
There you
like
go.
I do most of your meetings. So thank you again for including us in the reindeer games.
There you go. Thank you guys for coming.
Just
You
real
do.
quick, I don't see that 38-page document in my email. I don't know if maybe it got stuck or something, if we can just double check.
It may be that I put all county council and just forgot to hit send too.
I'm just
So,
mentioning it. Thank you.
It was right before the meeting, so I very well could have typed county council and didn't hit send, very much so.
Okay. Now we'll go back to regular business. Department heads. Angela, do you have anything?
Nothing particular other than we're getting pretty excited now for the beginning of the year and waiting for the first and only deposit of the new money. So it's supposed to be drawn down on January 1. Already got things set up and ready and anxiously waiting.
That Bobby.
Auditor's office, chief deputy.
Yeah, chief deputy.
So, once that's there and there'll be
Is your microphone on?
There will be some job postings that have to be cleared through the council tomorrow evening, I think just as formality, but those positions, if they come out of the new money, to be clear, have to be posted for 30 days. That's just part of Senate Enrolled Act 4. They're right this second is only one of those that I placed into, because we only got partial payment for the first year, 2024, and the remainder of them will be coming out of our 1159 Health Fund. So I just kind of wanted to put that on public record in case somebody at the state called and said, Commissioners, Angela is not posting those for 30 days. So it may take 30 days certainly to find it, but we are following the rules as far as that's concerned. Just want to let you know that I did have a meeting with Jamie attended, Nan Pogue, Jerry Cash, with the guest house, and they are just such a wealth of knowledge, and everything was kind of moving quickly. We have more questions, I think, at this point than we have answers for, and so from them, from Hope Initiative, from my department, we wanted to thank you for letting us come to you quickly for the $30,000, and just to know that it's tabled for the moment, just so that we are doing our due diligence. There's questions regarding liability and insurance and, proper safety procedures and a couple other things that we probably need to look at as far as the building is concerned. But the efforts and what we're trying to do certainly are not stifled. In fact, it's kind of even a more passionate burn now for us to try and move as quickly and diligently and safely as possible. So that's why I didn't come back for confirmation with that this week. But again, I wanted to thank the guest house for all of their insight and wisdom, and they're going to continue to work with these three groups and hopefully bring other people involved in the community so that we can best leverage this money that we have. So I'll let you know as soon as I know something more. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. I don't see anybody from the coroner's office. Mr. Shore, Mr. Copeland.
Who wants to go first?
Not used to seeing both of you here.
Well, you want to go over the annual bids now and get it out of the way?
Do I want to?
No, okay. just pass it out and we'll get started and we'll get through this.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The first two sheets are a summary and my recommendations. The following sheets are a recap of some of the prices that we've received, such as stone, asphalt, trucking, bridge packages. Okay, so first four items. Item 1 is gasoline, item 2 is diesel fuel number 1, item 3 is diesel fuel number 2, and item 4 on the bids was diesel fuel number 2 off-road. All right, we had one bidder, Falmouth Farm Supply, that's it. So I would recommend to accept Falmouth Farm Supply.
I will make the motion to accept Falmouth Farm Supply for gasoline, diesel fuel 1, 2, and diesel fuel 2 off-road.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to accept this bid. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 3-0.
Thank you. Item 5 was asphalt pavement materials and miscellaneous. FOB plant, we had bids from CGS Services, E&B Paving, Milestone Contractors, Highway, they deliver patch mix, and Irving Materials. I would recommend to accept all bids and use the low bid dependent upon product-specific need, availability, and proximity to project. One of our biggest costs for this is trucking, and if we can find a plant that's closer, it'll save us money. So,
I will make the motion to accept all bids and use low bid dependent upon product-specific need, availability, and proximity to the project.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to accept all bids. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 3-0.
next one is still under item 5. It's furnished, delivered, and placed hot mix asphalt. We had 3 bidders, CGS Services, E&B Paving, and Milestone Contractors. I would recommend to accept all bids and use low bid dependent upon proximity to project. The farther in Henry County that you go from their plant, they charge more. So if we need it, it's going to be doubtful we need it. But
I'll make the motion to accept all bids and use low bid dependent upon proximity to the project.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to accept all bids. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 3-0.
Because I'm assuming Caldwell Gravel is mostly southern part of the county.
yeah, Southwest.
Yeah, southwest part of the county, yep.
Item 6, crushed stone. We had bids from Irving Materials, Rush County Stone, and U.S. Aggregates. I would recommend to accept all bids. That's per state law. So,
I'll make the motion to accept all bids on crushed stone.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to accept all bids. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 3-0.
item 7 is gravel and sand. The only bid we received was from Irving Materials. I would recommend to accept IMI. So,
That was the only one. I'll make the motion to accept the IMI bid for gravel and sand.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to accept IMI's bid. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 3-0.
Item number 8 is pipe and miscellaneous. We had 3 bidders, E3 Bridge, Civilcon, and Metal Culverts Incorporated. They're out of Missouri, actually. And the last page of all the papers I gave you is a list of all the recommended acceptance, who was low. It included steel pipe, different corrugations, 2 2/3 by half, 3x1, 5x1, galvanized, luminized pipe 2, round, arch, and then aluminum box culverts we'll quote per project if we need them. Geotextile fabric, low with Civilcon, GeoGrid with Civilcon, plastic pipe N12 or equal with Civilcon. No bid on the plastic pipe, just corrugated, single wall, and erosion control blankets with Civilcon. I'd recommend to accept.
So I will make the motion to accept the bids based upon the pipe bid sheet that you have put together for 2024.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to accept as presented. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries 3-0.
If you would like a copy of all those bid prices on the pipe, let me know. I have them. so.
All right, will do.
Item number 9, calcium chloride. We had one bid from Great Lakes Chloride Incorporated. I would recommend to accept Great Lakes Chloride.
I'll make the motion to accept the Great Lakes Chloride bid as presented.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries 3-0.
Next item is item 10, small equipment rental and labor. We had two bids, Pritchett's Backhoe Service and East Central Contractors. I would recommend to accept all bids and use low bid dependent upon availability.
I will make the motion to accept all bids on small equipment rental and labor and use low bid dependent upon availability.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to accept all bids. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries 3-0.
Next item is item 11, pre-engineered, prefabricated bridges. There were three bidders, E&H Bridge and Grading, E3 Bridge, and Civilcon. I would recommend to accept E&H Bridge, low bid.
I'll make the motion to accept E&H Bridge, pre-engineered, prefabricated bridges bid as low bid.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to accept E&H Bridge. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries 3-0.
Next item is item 12, dump truck rental. We had three bidders, Pritchett's Backhoe Service, East Central Contractors, and Swoveland Excavating. I would recommend to accept all bids and use low bid dependent upon availability and proximity to the project.
I will make the motion to accept all bids and use low bid dependent upon availability and proximity to the project.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to accept all bids. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries 3-0.
Last but not least, we had two companies that were willing to extend their price from 2023, well, actually one's 2022, through 2024. Those prices have to be kept the same, solid price. They can't change it, can't vary. And they were Liquid Asphalt Materials, and the other was Large Equipment Rental and Labor, Duncan Robertson. And I have the agreements that Joel put together with me, if you'd like to.
Do we need that in the form of a motion? Okay, I make the motion to accept the Liquid Asphalt with Asphalt Materials and Large Equipment Rental and Labor, Duncan Robertson, as bids to carry over through 2024 and the agreements.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to accept the bids, carry over through 2024. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries 3-0.
Yep. Yep. You have.
You had a chance to review those already, Joel? So you're good with them?
So do we need to make another motion? No. Okay, the ferment, okay. Okay. Okay.
The, sum it up, asphalt prices were down a little, okay? IMI's was down a little more than what they'd been in the past, and we've been buying some from IMI. Steel pipe prices went up on two suppliers. One supplier, the one from Missouri, kept their price exactly the same as it was this year, 23. So. That's the annual bid, unless you have any questions.
Not that I know of. I think you covered everything. I think everything's good.
Now, Mr. Shore has a request.
Morning. I think all of you have a copy of the request. As you all know, we're in desperate need to update a lot of things out at the highway. But one thing that I'd like to try to update now would be a new pickup truck. We actually just had a pickup truck in our fleet that went down. That's going to cost more money than the truck is worth to fix. So that's why we're looking at this new GMC truck. That would be to come out of the 2024 equipment budget.
And you have the funding to cover that, correct?
Yes.
And they're holding it for you, is that right?
Yeah, they currently
What you
have
said.
it in stock, and he currently has it on hold for us, and until I tell him a definite answer on which way we're going to go with it.
I'll make the motion to approve the purchase of the 2024 GMC Sierra 2500 double cab. I'm not going to go through all the size of the, because that's Greek to me.
Understood.
For $46,500 from GMC Richmond.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve this purchase out of 2024 budget. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 3-0.
Thank you.
And we didn't have to call you over Christmas.
Yes.
You're welcome. Much better than last Christmas.
That's right, for sure.
The intersection study at 500 South, 25 West, I am downloading the counters this afternoon, so I'll print out all the information and see what, and start looking at details on what it looks like. So I'm working on it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Surveyor's Office. Planning Commission. Sheriff's Department. Auditor's Office.
Wait, what?
Whoop.
I thought he said he had something. I'm sorry. Did you? I thought you started to stand up. I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. I couldn't hear it. I'm sorry. I thought you started to stand up. I apologize.
I have the agreement with Hartman and Williams. It's identical to last year. They do all of our capital assets for us for the year. And I just need your approval for it. I can let Joel look at it if you want. I got it right where I came.
We'll move on and come back. Okay.
See anybody from the clerk's office, Hart,
Lisa's here.
assessors, recorder's office. Weights and measures. Don't see anybody from 911. EMS. Treasurer's office. Building inspector, EMA, probation, well, that runs through that. Okay.
Is this good? Okay. Joel said he is good with approving this, so I will make the motion to approve the Hartman and Williams agreement with the auditor's office.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the agreement. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 3-0. Okay, I have a HVAC service agreement for the YOC building from Piney.
And you should also have one either in there or laying next to you is one that we received also from Resolve Tech for the same thing.
Okay.
Did I give you that one, Joel? Okay.
One from Piney. It's quarterly rate of $2,178 with a total contract amount of $8,712. And Resolve Tech's is sum of says $18,456 per year, and 4 payable quarterly amounts of $4,614.
I'm just looking through each one to see where there may be differences, but I think they're pretty even here.
Oh, that's a considerable difference.
It is. I will make the motion to accept Piney's quote at a quarterly rate of $2,178 for a total contract amount of $8,712 for the HVAC maintenance at the YOC building.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to accept Piney's agreement. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries 3-0. Next, I have a service agreement, with the Henry County Justice Center from Automated Logic, for the price of $6,443. This was annual fire alarm inspections. Looks like that's the only quote we have on
Yes,
that
it
one.
is.
Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve the 1 year for $6,443.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to accept this agreement. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 3-0. And then I have an IT request.
Of course, this will come out of next year. So they've
Computer
identified
room.
power requirements in the Justice Center computer room, which is very important. Areas that need different power strips, power supplies. And so Jeff quoted 3 of the power strips and 2 of the battery backups, totaling $3,244.29.
Do I have a motion?
And I will make the motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve this $3,244.29 purchase, the IT. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 3-0. Under new business, we have the extension contract service agreement between Purdue University and the Henry County government for 4-H youth development, leadership, community development, agricultural, natural resources, health and human sciences for our Purdue extension. Joel, have you had an opportunity to review this?
It's the same agreement we've had prior years. Dollar figures may be adjusted, but
Same thing.
it's a standard agreement for this service.
Say the contractual agreements for the total of $55,440.
I will make the motion to approve the agreement between Purdue Extension and the county.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 3-0. Let's see, we've already done the highway bid. We've already discussed DLZ. We have a estimate to replace the flooring in the elevators at the Justice Center.
It didn't print off well, so I'll have to resend it. Let me pull it up. It is,
So we got 3 boxes of flooring. but
it's for the elevator here, as well as the elevator in the Justice Center, the public elevator in the Justice Center. The flooring is starting to wear and go bad. For both of them, sorry, here, 3 boxes for $180 plus glue install. It's $500 for both elevators to have the flooring replaced by Newcastle Flooring.
Do I have a motion?
I will make the motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve this expenditure. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 3-0. Next, we have the agreement between Spiceland and Matt Pierce for police protection. And Joel, you've had an opportunity to review that.
I have, yeah, it's similar agreement to what, almost the same year as what we've done past years for it.
I will make the motion to approve the agreement between Spiceland and the Sheriff's Department for Matt Pierce's contract.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the contract. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 3-0. Next, we have the revised holiday schedule for 2024. Do you want me to read through all the holidays? We have New Year's Day is Monday, January the 1st. Martin Luther King, January 15th. President's Day is Monday, the February 19th. Good Friday is Friday, March 29th. Election Day, Tuesday, May 7th. Memorial Day is Monday, May 27th. Juneteenth is Wednesday, June 19th. Independence Day is Thursday and Friday, July 4th and 5th. Labor Day is September the 2nd. Columbus Day is Monday, October the 14th. Election Day, Tuesday, November 5th. Veterans Day is Monday, November the 11th. Thanksgiving is Thursday, Friday, which is November 28th and 29th. Christmas is Monday, December 23rd. And obviously Tuesday, Wednesday is the 24th, 25th for Christmas. Monday will be closed half day at afternoon. Do I have any discussion?
I'll make the motion to accept, but I also want to circle back around here so that we're not at the end of the year changing what our meeting dates are for Thanksgiving, that we go ahead and modify those. So I'll make the motion to accept the holiday schedule as presented, and then we'll move back around to our schedule.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to accept the holiday schedule. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 3-0.
Because usually we're always in November going, hey, what are we going to do about because our meeting is typically the Wednesday before Thanksgiving, and then we'll move it to the Tuesday. So our meeting is the 27th. Oh, I guess we'll do that in the next, we'll do that in January. Can we go ahead and make or I guess we'll just remind us in our next meeting to make sure, because we're always waiting till the very end and then we're scrambling to make sure everybody's calendar works. Okay. Thank you. Did we vote on that? I know I made a motion.
Yes,
I can't remember if
we voted on it.
All right, thank you.
Next, I have bonds. I have a $300,000 bond for Jenny Grubbs. Can we do these all at once, Joel, or do we do them individually?
You can do them all at once.
Okay. I got the $300,000 for Jenny Grubbs. I have a $30,000 bond for Donna Tauber. And I have a $300,000, no, $3,000 bond.
30.
No, $30,000. There's not a comma in there.
They don't have a comma.
$30,000 bond for Steve Kaufman. And I have a $30,000 bond for Steve Rust.
Add to that, we have a $30,000 bond that just came in today from Melinda Grounds, Jefferson Township Trustee.
So I have another bond for $30,000 from Melinda Grounds. Do I have a motion on approving these bonds?
Make the motion to approve the bonds as presented.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve all these bonds. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 3-0. Don't have anything else. Anything from the public?
You have a resolution, she forgot to put on, you guys have this resolution for the, opioid,
Oh,
So I do not
I
have
think
that.
that's the one that Angela tabled. 'Cause
Oh, it's
that was-
tabled?
Yeah, that was the one that was dependent upon, yeah, it got, yeah.
Okay.
Hi, my name is Joshua Kimbrell. I've had an issue here in Henry County where I had a run-in with Sheriff Sproles in Caddis, I believe it was, where he was bullying the town into doing some stuff that they weren't doing. We went there to record a meeting, which was an open public meeting. Well, from that meeting, I was told that Sproles was attempting to press disorderly conduct charges on us. So when I made an attempt to go to the Justice Center, which is a public building, to get in there to talk to the prosecutor about these rumored pending charges, I was denied to get into that building because there's an ordinance, and I was told at the time that there's a judge's order. Well, it escalated, and Sheriff Sproles came and did a couple things. One, he lied. He said there was a judge's order preventing cameras inside that building. Through public records requests, I find out that is a lie. Two, as far as I know, you guys are the agents of the Justice Center. Am I correct in that belief?
Well, the judges also have jurisdiction over that building as far as their...
Incorrect. The judges have jurisdiction over the courtroom. Here on this ordinance, it says the commissioners are the agents of the building.
Agents of the building. We own the building.
So with that being said, I've only met Bobby once. I've never met the other two. Have you guys trespassed me from that building that you know of? Have I been officially trespassed by you guys from that building as the agents?
I have not.
So does that trespass stand? Am I trespassed from the Justice Center, as you guys know?
Unless you've asked that this gentleman not be allowed to build.
We have not, no. Yeah, no, we have not.
It would be
I have not. Joe, have you? Nope.
Okay, I
It
just
would be
wanted,
my...
I just met you the other day right out
Yes.
downstairs.
I'll say it would be my understanding that you personally were not denied access to the building, correct?
me personally, yes.
You personally were not
Engaged in my
denied.
First Amendment right, I was denied access, me
No,
personally.
You personally were not denied access to that building. You were denied access for bringing recording equipment into the building.
Under what grounds?
I'm just saying, that is my
Yes.
understanding, that's what it was. You personally were not denied access to get
Me
into that
personally, as the press, trying to engage in a constitutionally protected activity and record public servants in the course of their duty, which is a guaranteed right under that First Amendment, it was a First Amendment retaliation because I was engaged in that First Amendment that I was not allowed in that building. So yes, I personally was
But if
prohibited from going.
If you would have put down your recording equipment and went in that building, you would have been allowed access to that building, correct?
Why should I give up my right to
Just
access a
asking,
public
would-
building?
would
That's-
that be true?
I disagree. I believe that engaged in that possession of a phone should not bar me from a public building. There are cameras everywhere. But other than that, there's an ordinance on record. As far as I know, none of you guys were here for that.
Correct.
As far as I know, Joel, you weren't the attorney at the time during that
I
ordinance,
think it was 2010.
2010.
Yeah, no.
So what I'm requesting you guys to do now is stop this prior restraint. Joel, you know what I mean by prior restraint. It's been ruled on by the Supreme Court. What's going on now for the past almost 14 years is you guys have been violating, not you guys in general, because you didn't pass this, but allowing this to go on. Now, you guys can pass any ordinance you see fit. If you want to pass an ordinance that says no females are allowed to vote in Henry County, as long as no females argue at the polls, that stands. It doesn't mean it's right. But until it's challenged, it stands. Today, I am challenging this ordinance. And I'm coming to you guys first. That's the first step I want to do, is come to you guys and give you guys an opportunity to make this right. If you guys do not, I will make it over there, and I will challenge it physically to get a citation, because that's how it's supposed to work. When there's an ordinance violation, the sheriff's not supposed to come out, and I wish Rose was here instead of sending somebody else. But how it's supposed to work for an ordinance violation is you get a ticket, you go to court and fight it the proper way. That's not what happened. Your sheriff, John Sproles, came here and solicited an illegal trespass from the prosecutor's office, not the commissioners. You guys are the agents of that building, not the prosecutor. He went and got that, and under threat of arrest, I had to leave that lobby under threat of arrest. And if I did not leave that lobby, I would have been, quote-unquote, arrested for a trespass that they had no place even doing. So now, with this ordinance 2010-03-5.26, I ask you guys to overturn this ordinance. A cell phone, it says here, for the safety and health. Safety and health. This. I challenge you guys, show me one court case where this was ever used as a weapon against anybody's safety. We entrust the government for transparency. We give you guys the right to rule over us and be transparent about it. Right now, Indiana is on the verge of moving forward to opening recordings in court. And if there is a problem with that, the judge already has authority, just like here in this decorum. It states here, inappropriate attire will be prohibited in courtrooms, because that's the extent of the judge's authority, is in that courtroom and the hallways immediately adjacent to. That power is granted to that judge by the Judicial Code 2.117, or 2.17, in the Indiana Code of Judicial Conduct. That grants that judge authority over his courtroom and the hallways immediately adjacent to. And it says, not possessing cell phones, but recording proceedings. And that was put in place for one, to protect witnesses, and two, to protect jurors. Nowhere was this established to protect the government. What harm does a cell phone, a video recorder? I mean, you guys got cameras here. We're live streaming all over the internet. So what is the main issue with having a cell phone? What damage can be done? What safety can be violated through this cell phone? Right now, you guys have an active ordinance that is under prior restraint, restraining your citizens of Henry County and anybody else who visits that courtroom, and it is violating their rights. And it only stands right now because in the past 13, almost 14 years, it has not been challenged. Any ordinance can be passed until it's challenged and deemed unconstitutional. And I'm giving you guys a chance now to, I hope, put this on the agenda and vote on it right now to get it abolished, taken off the books.
Well, right now, I would not put it on the agenda because I don't know the complete facts of why it was in place. In the first place, it was my understanding there was a court case that was going on, and that was what invoked this. I would have to refer to our attorney to find out what all the circumstances were, because I look at it this way. I agree that you have rights, but they don't trump everybody else's. And because your rights are, just let me finish.
Okay.
I'm talking now. Your rights are no more important than my rights, his rights, or anybody else's. But it amazes me that when these things start, all of a sudden everybody's rights are more important than everybody else's. I would argue that I'm not sure exactly what happened in the past to cause this. It was my understanding that recording devices, phones, whatever, had been in the courtrooms or in that building when the specialized witnesses or whatever came in, and they were filmed, which put them at risk and put them in jeopardy. That was why it was done. So if we allow this, and I'm not saying what we're going to do, we're going to refer it to our legal counsel, but if we allow that, that means someone has to either restrict where you can go in that building with these devices, or tell you that follow you around to make sure you don't slip down a hallway or someplace you're not supposed to be.
It was already passed. Judges decorum right here. This is what
I
regulates
understand
it.
that, but that
what
means...
you're talking about is pre-crime. Now, I want to touch on something. You said it doesn't trump everybody else's rights. I think you're confused on rights and feelings. Nobody has a right to privacy in public. Nobody has a right to privacy in public. That is a public building the same as this building. The same rules for that building apply here, 100%. It's a public building. If I have the right to have a cell phone in this building, I have a damn right to have a cell phone in that building. The only difference is the courtrooms. And it is ruled on, already signed judge's order that you're not allowed to have. Actually, it doesn't even say you're not allowed to have. It states you're not allowed to record. So just possessing a device, just like right now, it's illegal to shoot somebody that's not warranted in self-defense. If I go around and just shoot somebody, that's illegal. That's the crime. Possessing a device that could shoot somebody cannot be deemed illegal. That's what you're doing. You're doing a pre-crime here. You're punishing everybody else for somebody who might violate that law. Until that law is violated, until that order is violated, don't act upon it. That's what this ordinance is doing. You are punishing everybody before a crime is committed. Everybody.
So what I'm going to do, because I don't want to get into a circular argument, and I appreciate all that you have said, I'm going to make the motion that we put all of this, give Joel all this information to go through, and come back to us with a recommendation, and then we'll move forward from there.
And I think that's a smart thing to do because we weren't here when all that was enacted.
Absolutely.
So I don't know all the circumstances of why it's done. I'm like you, it's been that way since I've been in office. And so I don't know the circumstances surrounding it. So I would hate to make another ordinance that says we're not supposed to be doing something when I don't know the full weight of why it was done in the first place.
So my motion is to have Joel look into this. We'll look into it and see what can be done, if anything can be done, how things can be changed.
Well,
That's the best that I can,
that's
the best that I
fine,
can do.
that's fine, but just so you guys know, I will be going over there and challenging it, and if my constitutional rights are violated again today, I will be filing suit. I have given you guys an opportunity. If you want to take 5 minutes to read both these, they're both printed up, they're 2-minute reads. They shouldn't take long to read. If you guys want to do that, look over them. And, I mean, the only reason they give is for the safety and health of the workers. That's the only reasoning. It's sent up to here. It says, whereas the judges of Henry Circuit Court and Superior Courts have determined that carrying cellular telephones and electronic devices into the Henry County Justice Center presents security issues and other issues related to proper functioning of the courts. Here is a court order saying you are not allowed to record proceedings. If you do so, there are laws on the books that somebody could be punished on. It's already there. Yours is an overreach. I'm telling you guys, it's an overreach. Joel, you know it's an overreach.
Well, restrictions similar to that have been upheld in federal courts.
Could you give me a case law? Yes, and they've been ruled on by traditional public forums, limited public forums.
Very similar challenge to what you've raised.
Yeah, time, place, and manner restrictions.
So let's just,
We're not going to solve it today.
no, we're not. So I have a motion.
I second the motion.
Okay.
I have a motion and a second on the floor. Put this under legal review. All
Thank
those in
you.
favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 3-0.
Thank you.
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
So moved. Thank you, everyone. Joe, did you need these other contracts signed today?